Hello, welcome to the Three Horse Channel. This is David, and this is my live stream, my weekly live stream every Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and I think it's 9 p.m. Eastern, something like that. And this is now December 21st, 2025. And the reason I do this live stream is to catch everybody up to date of the project, the Verbobonc Campaign Guide 576 Common Year, which is the epic sandbox version campaign of the module T1 through 4, Temple of Elemental Evil by Gary Gygax, written by Frank Mencher. Instead of running the module from the pages, like a dungeon slog, where all you do is go to Hamlet and Nulb and then into the dungeon, like we used to do in the 80s, I turned this into what he intended is to be a bigger, grander campaign, which engages the rest of Greyhawk, the area, from the Wild Coast to Divers to the Lord Mild Mountains, Theorandi, Veluna. Also, to continue onwards, you could incorporate this campaign into the Slavers, the A modules, the Gs, Giants, the Drow, and then finally the Q1 with Loth. And that's what we did in the 80s. And that was really epic. It's a lot of fun. It was more of a Monty Hall campaign, but the way this is written up with a lot of development of the characters and the organizations and the locations, you get a lot of there's a lot of detail here to really bring the world to life. It's kind of like Game of Thrones meets Temple of Elemental Evil. So if you guys are watching, I need some sort of feedback to make sure you can hear and see me. I'm not 100% confident with all the software. Something always seems to go wrong. And it says my YouTube stream is in excellent health, so I assume it's doing well. If you have any questions about this campaign, yeah, by all means, type it into the YouTube chat and I can answer them for you. I'll put the questions up on screen. Also, another reason why I do the weekly live stream is to get a guest Dungeon Master on, and they can talk about their campaign. And we had another couple session reports this week from a couple of the Dungeon Masters running this campaign in the Discord channel. And that's what the Discord channel is for, is to collaborate, to be part of the scene and to work on it, to share or critique. Because every day that I work on these articles, I put them up there first for you guys to critique and look it over. Xavier, thank you. All good, David. Sounds good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Put that up on the screen. And so not everybody can keep up every day because you have jobs and you can't watch what I'm doing every day. And I put like 4 to 5 hours a day into this stuff. And I do a lot of work every week. And so I figured an update once a week would be good for somebody to catch up on everything I did and then talk about what we're going to do next. And also entertain any requests for your campaign. I've done that a few times where I had to develop a certain section of the world for a Pacific Dungeon Masters campaign group because they happen to be in Littleborough or other locations too. So one thing I wanted to mention before we continue, though, is, George R.R. Martin. So this is, I guess, the first book before Game of Thrones. And it's really good. There's no magic. Dragons are spoken of briefly, but they're not involved. And it's a Hedge Knight. This guy's a Hedge Knight. That's what he looks like. A Hedge Knight. Can you imagine? I had a Hedge Knight in my D&D campaign one time, and I used a lot of information from this book to help run it. We had a Knights tournament, kind of like that movie with Heath Ledger. He was a Hedge Knight, and he was going from tournament to tournament and winning the grand prize. They melt it down and sell it. You know what? So is all the lords of Verbobonc. They're doing the same thing. It's a political thing. So in the City of Verbobonc, which I'm working on currently, I already did the outside grounds. So let's go ahead and bring that up first. There's a lot of things I want to talk about. Well, since I have this up first, let's talk about this first, and then we'll go to the City of Verbobonc about Hedge Knights and tournaments and stuff, which will be a lot of fun for our campaign. Okay, so I mentioned this a few times before. I have a choice. So I have a working relationship with the Dungeon Masters Guild. I sold quite a few modules there twice. I had to reload them up, and they were selling like crazy. Then they found out that I also share the same information on World Anvil. They don't care. It's in a different format. World Anvil is a totally different format. It's online only. It's really hard to print those up. Even if you export them as a PDF, the printouts are crazy. They're not formatted. It'd be a waste of paper. You know, you try printing one of my articles. It'd be like 50 pages. And so, but they don't care. By the rules, you can't offer anything on Dungeon Masters Guild and elsewhere. And it's against the rules. So they said you got to choose, David. You got to choose either World Anvil or Dungeon Masters Guild. I told them there's too many Dungeon Masters currently using this campaign, and this is my DM notes. It's like asking me to delete my own DM notes. I use this World Anvil as I'm running the game at the table. I need it. It's like a big elaborate Dungeon Master note. All the information about this campaign is at my fingertips with the interactive maps, and the articles are linked together in a lot of ways. So I said, you know what? I don't care. I don't need to be selling anything on Dungeon Masters Guild. It's not what I do for a living. I only did it because certain Dungeon Masters wanted to be able to print it up. And that's why I did it. And I put 300 hours into Nolb. That took forever. I'm glad I sold some of them. So anyway, I decided to do something. So this is what I'm going to do. I got some good advice. So once a month, we're going to hold a, what do you call it? Hold a, reach a certain level, either YouTube subscribers. I'm at 1835 now. I want to get to 1900. Patreon subscribers. We're at 403 right now. I'd like to reach 420. So once a month, I'm going to set that target. And when we reach it, can't think of the word, but when we reach it, I'll release another module. So right now, this one's available. Let's see, that one right there. That's December module. So you can download it right there. Print it up if you want. This is fan content. You can do anything you want with it. If you use it in your own work, which we have a new member, he's from Germany and he wants to convert everything over to German for his German group. I said, go for it. It's fan content. You can do whatever you want with it. The only thing I could ask for is if you put my name in the credits, that where you got the original information from. But it's fan content, and that's what it's for. And I redid these modules as fan content. I had to go through them and change it from the Dungeon Masters Guild version. And so next month, I guess I'll do the Temple Leadership one. Yeah, that one. Unlocking January module. So that's my target. And a little brief blurb of what that module is all about. And so I'll unlock that one. So you'll have all the NPCs for the Temple of Elemental Evil, the leadership and the agents in the field, all of them, with dialogue and descriptions and personalities and political relationships and stuff and what they're up to, activities. And then a little blurb of what this campaign's about. And then so another person made a statement on the Patreon to one of my posts. He said, a couple of people said they don't know where to go. If you're new, especially something that's new to Greyhawk, they didn't know where to start because I have so much information out there. This is too much that they get lost. They don't know where to even start. So what I did was I wrote an article, and that's the link to the article. So I put that here. I'll show you that article in a second. A FAQ. So the only thing that Patreon members get is the high-res stuff and tokens, high-res stuff, artwork, like the menus from the taverns. I got a couple of menus I need to put up. I keep forgetting. There's a couple more. I need to put them up as high-res. And the maps, like the City of Verbobonc map, the Viscounty map. Because you want high-res because you can print them up. Or your VTT might be able to use it versus the lower res version. Some VTT applications only use low res. It's a limit, like a 10 megabyte file. And I think Fantasy Grounds limit, I think it's 25 megabytes. Can't remember. So anyway, there's my links at the bottom. Yeah. So this is a separate website. I put this on Google sites. So it's clear to Wizards of the Coast that all this stuff is free. It's not clear if I put the stuff on Patreon. I can get into trouble for that. Even though I list it on Patreon to anybody free, to all members, even non-members. I can make a post to people that's not a member, and they can still get to it. I can take that link, put it on Facebook anywhere, and anybody can read it. That post on Patreon, yes, but it's a fine line. They don't want any kind of confusion that there's a paywall, and they just Patreon's basically off limits. So I created a separate website to give away the modules and run this contest, run this agenda, this whatever you call it. Can't remember what it's called. Anyway, also, what I was going to get to here. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the chat, and I can answer them for you. I have 5 ready to go, so 1's released right now. I got 4 more to release, and then hopefully by then the City of Verbobonc will be done. So let's go ahead and look at that. So if you go to the City of Verbobonc section, you'll see that I divided the city into quarters or districts. Yeah, there's a district there. I didn't name it that. I should be more consistent. Like these should all be districts, or they should all be quarters. But anyway, A is done. B is done. All the locations and NPCs, they're all done. And I'm on C right now, and I'll show you that in a minute. And all of H1 through H18 is done. The walls and everything outside the walls are done. When I mean done, this means I rewrote them. I reformatted them. I made better, newer artwork. Because the whole city's done. It's been done like 3 or 4 years ago. I completed the city. I've been using it. The City of Verbobonc is done. I'm just rewriting them and cleaning them up. And I do better work now than I did 3 or 4 years ago. Better writing, better artwork, better layout, all that stuff. And also all the sub-articles to go with it, like the military, the politics, the religion. These are all separate articles. So I'm redoing them too. Because I'm at the same time, I'm creating that other that module. So as I go to each article, I'm doing the module article version. I'm doing the world anvil version. I'm doing both at the same time. And I get like 3 locations a day. I'm getting that done. And the business quarter was the largest. As you can see, there's 30 locations, and it's done. Finally got through that. All the other locations are a lot less. So I'm more than halfway done with the City of Verbobonc. It's pretty cool. Let me while we're here, I'll show you what I did so far. So I redid this article. This is the cover article. Every district has a cover article, the main article. And on the right-hand side, see, is a table of contents of all the locations. You just put your cursor over it in case you guys don't know anything about this. It pops up the article. Click it again. It pulls up the full article. I like to right-click and open it up as a new tab. I have all these tabs open on my browser. I try to limit my tabs to 20 because too many tabs, you get confused. Because every location has NPCs too, and some of those NPCs have their own articles. Also, all the organizations have their own articles too. And in those organizations, there's NPCs, like the bishop. He has his own article. So you can go down a rabbit hole of all these articles because it's all been written out with a lot of narration, flavor text, dialogue, and details. Okay, so I got the Cathedral of Trithrin done. Did I do C2? I'm working on C2 today, and I got sidetracked. So I got C1 done. Let's look at C1. Yeah. I just cleaned the artwork up. That's not a different picture. I just changed it. I cleaned it up a little bit. But I did add a lot more. I rewrote all this stuff. I thought that picture came out really well. That's the High Priest. He causes a lot of trouble and angst for all the lords in Verbobonc. As if you read all this, you'll know. And he has his own article. And the Church of Trithrin has their own article as an organization. You know, the church has an organization versus the church as a location. Because there's lots of churches of Trithrin around, but they all belong to the same organization, and they all have different NPCs. If the NPC is kind of minor, he's not a major NPC, I won't write a separate article for him. I'll just put him in the main article for that location. I made that holy symbol. When you meet him, you read that to the players if you want, all that stuff. So there's a lot of details. This is all canonical to Greyhawk the Box of Greyhawk and Living Greyhawk lore. Living Greyhawk created most of the stuff. They created a lot of these organizations and locations. So if you look at the map, City of Verbobonc is part of the original World of Greyhawk. But all these other towns, like Penwick, Etterboke, that's all from Living Greyhawk. And Gary Gygax intended in the original box set, the World of Greyhawk box set, for the Dungeon Master to make it his own Greyhawk and to flush this all out. And if you think logically, historically, the way it was in the medieval ages, I pretty much choose mid-16th century. There should be a small town every 10 miles because that's as far as a merchant caravan will go in one day's travel. Yeah. Anyway, this map, every hex is 3 miles, 1 league. Okay, so let's go make sure I didn't miss anything here. That's the Viscounty map. Every hex, I'm sorry. This map, every hex is a league, 3 miles. This is the big Viscounty map. This one, every hex is 1 mile. You need a lot of detail to run noble ambitions. We'll talk about that in a second too. This is the City of Verbobonc main page. And as you scroll down, there's an interactive map. And on the right-hand side is the table of contents. And there's a bunch of plot quests, including noble ambitions. I start my campaign with noble ambitions at first level characters in the City of Verbobonc. And we just had a Dungeon Master talk about that today. So I'll bring that up. So his name, let me bring up Discord. I'll find out. Let's see, it's in we have different rooms. The Verbobonc Campaign room, that's where all the Dungeon Masters talk about their own individual campaigns. How come it's abbreviated? R, you changed your name. Your name is R. Why did you change your name for? Murder hobos. For tonight's session. The party didn't pursue the fleeing goblins. Oh, that's Ryan. I can't remember. Anyway, he changed his name. I see that. So we had 2 reports. So this report, let me bring it over here. So the Goblin quest in Hamlet, the village of Hamlet, the sub quest, the goblins raid Jay's farm, the sheep. That plot, it's part of the first module, the one I'm giving away for free right now. The side quest for the Hamlet. Anyway, he's running the Goblin quest, and he said that his party didn't pursue them when they fled, when they ran away. They opted instead to talk to Black Jay. Oh, they stayed the night at Black Jay's for the night to rest. Then they went to the Church of St. Cuthbert the next morning and talked to Calmert for healing after they dropped 5 gold pieces into the plate. So he runs his online. He uses 2-channel positive energy, using to heal them somewhat. He's running Pathfinder. They went back to Black Jay, borrowed one of his farm dogs, Gus, to help them sniff out the goblin's lair. What they not expected is the cultist and the hobgoblin deeper in the caves, plus an Easter egg to my 593 common year. So he's running his campaign in the 593 common year, which is Living Greyhawk years, and that's after the Greyhawk Wars. The original T1 through 4 Temple of Elemental Evil module is supposed to be run in 579 common year, and that's how I write all the articles in this campaign for 576, 579 common year, to run this campaign at that timeline before the Greyhawk Wars ever happened. But he's running his later. It doesn't matter. All these locations and NPCs still exist no matter what timeline you run yours in. There's a couple things you might have to change. Anyway, that's his VTT map of his Goblin Caves. That's definitely not my map. Oh, nobody's running. Anyway. Yeah. Hobgoblin, cultist. So the Earth Temple. So the Earth Temple is trying to recruit the band of goblins. They find that out. The players are a bunch of murder hobos, and he agreed. The hobgoblin is the same as the one who whooped all their butts last session. So he's swearing at them. Anyway, that's cool. And the other guy, his players are in Nob. and they made friends with Dick Wrench. Did the first quest for him. It's in the Village of Nolb module, the side quests in the Village of Nolb, and those are all on World Anvil too, by the way. All the quests are there too. So he did the quest for Dick Wrench. I guess they went out and ambushed the gnolls for the Fire Temple. So that made them approved to go work for the Earth Temple. You got pit. There's 7 factions, and you should pit the different factions against each other, and that's what he's doing. So the Dungeon Master here is really doing a good job. I think his name is Custatus, or is it Aceto? I can't remember who it was, but anyway, I don't want to bring that up. So then they got a meeting with Romag, the leader of the Earth Temple, and they went to the first level of the Temple of Elemental Evil ruins, and they got an audience with him in the temple room, and Romag gave him another mission with his lieutenant, and his lieutenant sent them to go kill more gnolls from the Fire Temple down below, and they got jumped by a wraith or something. So that's all happening too. I forgot what the report was on that. I don't know if you put that in here. Let me double check. It might have been earlier. Custatus. Yep, Custatus. Welcome to the Temple of Elemental Evil, where the real enemy isn't the wraiths or the werewolves or even the literal forces of darkness. It's middle management. So that's his way of doing it, which is good. So naturally, the werewolves were waiting for him in the next room. These werewolves are keyed in the original module, by the way. He's in that room, like room 2, I don't know, 218, whatever room that's the werewolves are keyed in. That's where they're at, which I believe is near the Fire Temple. Anyway, so they're annoyed that they had to fight the party the hard way instead of just mauling unarmed adventurers like civilized monsters. After a brutal fight, half the party's weapons were useless because the classic lycanthrope problems. They're not silver. They discovered that the werewolves had been hoarding exact silver weapons they needed to kill the werewolves, so they had them. Because apparently even the evil shape changers understood irony, the party then got badges from Romag. So they returned to Romag, the leader of the Earth Temple, and I guess he indoctrinated them into the Earth Temple and gave them badges, Earth Temple badges, using my symbols I created on the website. He convinced some guard that converting from St. Cuthbert to the Earth Temple was totally normal and got sent a mission. So Lieutenant Krell of Romag, it was 100% set up to get them killed by their own faction. Now they're hunting down this backstabbing quest giver for Romag's sacrificial pleasure, because nothing says team building like tracking down middle management for ritual execution. So he wrote this huge session report for his campaign, and this was on 12/14. So I guess we went over that last week. All right. Anyway, that covers that. Hello. Thank you for joining the Discord. And thank you for joining the 3 Orcs YouTube live stream. We're just going over what I did all week and what's been happening with the Dungeon Masters. So that's the Dungeon Master part. I'm done with that. So anyway, the City of Verbobonc here is on the screen. This is the main page for the city, and I've been working on that all this last week. I've been a little busy. I got a cold. My lymph nodes are swollen. I've been taking Mucinex. I got the crud. I guess that's what you guys call it back east, the winter crud. And it makes me tired. But I still go to the coffee shop, and I still work on these. But I had a lot of appointments, so I didn't get as many articles done as I usually do. But A is done. B is done. I just started on C, and I got the first location in C done. Then I had to do that other website, the one with the the thing I'm doing about giving away the modules. I had to get that done. And I had to put a message on the Viscount DLC, the Patreon page. So on the Patreon, I put that article up. So let everybody, all the Patreon members know this is what we're doing. So I did put that up on Patreon, a post. And anybody that's a member of Patreon got that post today. And I got a problem with my main website on World Anvil. So this is the World Anvil front page for the Verbobonc Campaign Guide 576 Common Year. It's the main page to the whole campaign world. My elaborate Dungeon Master notes. And a new Dungeon Master asked about this, so I'll get to that in a second. So this is just the cover. This tells you what this campaign's about, this front page. everything you see here. What I added today was this part. Welcome to Three Orcs, how to get free PDFs. And so I'll put a link right here to the content library website I told you about that I created on Google Sites. That's the link right there. So I told everybody on World Anvil that this is what's happening. I added that today. So when I added that today, this whole section, that all looks good. That all looks good. I got this all looking good. But bam, all of a sudden, look at that. My table of contents, I can't even read it. So I complained on World Anvil today. I'm trying to get an answer to help me get this worked out. Because this section on the right has this white background, this translucent background, so you can read this. But this side doesn't have that. So you can't even read that without highlighting it all. That's the table of contents. So I got to get that fixed. All the maps are on the right. Most of the maps. Okay, so we covered that. I bet it's this background thing that's causing the problem. The City of Verbobonc background. Maybe I got to mess with that. Okay, the cathedral. We talked about the cathedral already. That's done. Recruitment, noble ambitions. Oh, okay. So I got to find the article I talked about today. Okay, go to the main page. Duh. Everything you want to know should be on the main page. Sorry, I got to pull it up. Okay, so what I want everybody to read when they first come here is the introduction that tells you everything you need to know. So this front page tells you the basics, right? But also in the table of contents is the introduction, the very first one in the table of contents. So I'll click on introduction and look at all these articles there. The articles are on the right hand too, right side. So the credits, of course, introduction to the campaign guide, legal, and where to start. So this was written today. I wrote this today. So this is another thing I had to do today and not write a location up. I had to do this instead. So a dungeon master, a couple of new dungeon masters came in and were a little confused or overwhelmed. They didn't know where to start. And so they were asking me in Discord, got some advice. What if I do noble ambitions? How do you get the players from noble ambitions from there to the next part of the campaign? Like Village of Hamlet and Mohouse, Lareth? How do you connect it? And so I need to create something more exact for that. But before that, I needed to create this first, this article. So I wrote this article today, where to start. So yes, you absolutely can start Greyhawk he wanted to use the 2024 Dungeon Master Guide. You can run this campaign with any rule set. It doesn't matter. We got a Dungeon Master using Pathfinder. And we got, using Old School Essentials, AD&D, First Edition, Second Edition, Castles and Crusades. So everybody's using different rule systems. It doesn't matter. This is a campaign world. It doesn't matter what rule system you use. I was creating all the stat blocks for the NPCs in 5th edition, 5e, because I was publishing them on Dungeon Masters Guild, the modules, and that's a requirement that all modules have to be in 5e. So it looks like I don't have to do that no more. I can just do basic stats. Okay, so think of it as this. The official books are the rules. The Verbobonc site and the setting plus NPCs plus adventures. So you can run the rules and use my stuff where you are and who lives there and what's going wrong. So this is the advice right off the bat. So step 1, where should a new DM start? So you want to start small. That's how T1 module, Village of Hamlet, why it's one of the best modules ever written, the most popular, the most run ever in the history of, besides the B2 module. It's got a home base. It starts off small. You start off in a small town. Forgotten Realms has a major problem with that. They always want to start their characters in Waterdeep. What a nightmare. So you want to start a Dungeons and Dragons adventure campaign in a small town. It's a lot easier for the Dungeon Master to run and to be engaged with all the NPCs there and what's going on. You want to keep it simple. Like the B2 module, you got the keep, and then you got the dungeon. Can't be simpler than that, and it really engages the players. It makes them feel grounded, engaged with them, and it builds the campaign world from there. Any good stories like that? You want one clear problem. Well, the Caves of Chaos and the B2 module, that's a clear problem. In this campaign world, you got the bandit problem. So lately, besides the politics with the gnomes, which is connected, is banditry on the rise. Up and down the merchant roads, throughout the Viscounty and the Gnarly Forest, bandits and brigands are attacking merchant caravans, stealing everything and taking prisoners. And they seem to be more organized than they should, and it's happening more and more often. It's really affecting the Viscounty, the economy, and the merchant trade. And so a lot of organizations want people to get to the bottom of that. And for some reason, the Viscount pulled back the patrols of the mounted borderers from the Cron Hills to protect the gnomes and their merchant caravans. And the merchant caravans from the Cron Hills, from the gnomes, are being attacked. And a lot of things are happening like that. Behind all this is the Temple of Elemental Evil agents out there stirring up trouble and causing confusion, throwing the entire Viscounty into chaos. They really want someone to get down to the bottom of this. And actually, yeah, a couple of the big organizations has. Luna is involved. They sent an agent, Otis, and Fiorendi sent Otis to Nolb to pose as a blacksmith. And Canoness Yade from the Church of St. Cuthbert is there too. And they're investigating, find out who's behind all this and what's going on. They're in Nolb right now. You don't want them to solve everything. It's the player's job. So they want help, but they don't trust anybody. So players, if you read the Village of Nolb, you'll understand how much they can help and how much it'll take to get them to be trusted, the players to be trusted by those characters. But that's what they're doing there. One adventure site. Yeah. Like to keep on the borderlands. There's the Caves of Chaos. One dungeon. And that's the mission. In Noble Ambitions, same thing. It's the Ancient Shul Temple ruins, the dungeon. And then in the T1 module, the Village of Hamlet, you got the Moat House. Very engaging, very direct, very clear for the players. They completely understand this. And they go there and they understand the mission, and there's no confusion unless they're really dense. But that tends to be normal too lately. Like the Village of Hamlet, then Nolb, then the Temple. Verbobonc City at the home base, then Hamlet, Nolb, Temple. I send them to, later on I talk about Noble Ambitions at the bottom of this article. So how do the rules fit? Everything I just said. The rules are the rules, and the campaign world is the campaign world. Then I put the interactive map. I don't know why it starts off there. It should start off in the middle. That's the city. Okay. How to use the Verbobonc site as a beginner. Start with the main landing page. And I also should go to the introduction section. Pick one area, like the Village of Hamlet, or Penwick, or any Etterbook, or Twilight Falls, any location. Just start there. They're fully keyed, just like the Village of Hamlet is. They all have their own plot hooks too. You can start with the clans, the elf clans in the middle of the Gnarly Forest if you wanted to. What about a beginner module? Well, of course, the T1 module, Village of Hamlet, run that. Or you could run Noble Ambitions. And that's a first level dungeon. The top half is. Don't fall into the second level. Oh, I got a report from that. Okay, so another group this week reported to me that their party finally cleared the first dungeon, the Ancient Shul Temple Ruins. They cleared it. They got to the top level. He didn't tell me the details of how much they fought the orcs there, but they got to the treasure room. They rescued the dwarf, and they retrieved Osbury's treasures, and they got out alive. They succeeded. They did not, and he also reported they did not go to the second level. Good, because they probably would have been slaughtered. And I guess they didn't fall into any of the traps. And I got to remind you guys, those pit traps are not on the main path that the clues tell you to take. Only if you go off the path will you have be in danger of falling in those pit traps. And it's not instant death. You just end up on a second level, and you have to be lucky and smart enough to figure out how to get back out again. Okay, so we got Ajnan Ramis. Okay, so he stated that, I love the politics around the gnomes. From noble ambitions, I plan to hook my players in playing giants on the move and games afoot, a Bigfoot. What he's talking about is the Living Greyhawk modules in Sheer Knob. So Sheer Knob, there's 3 Living Greyhawk modules, and it's all about the hill giants raiding Sheer Knob. Sheer Knob is 10 miles south of Hamlet. So let's go there. No, this one. No. Well, Sheer Knob. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about. I can talk about this for hours. There's so much going on. You got to remember, every hex is 3 miles. So top of the Edders is the Fire Temple outpost. And there's the Moat House where Lareth is. And Sheer Knob is right here, 10 miles south of Hamlet. The bandits are raiding. See that highway, that merchant road going north and south? That's called the Long Road because it's the longest merchant road cutting through the Viscounty. And those Lareth brigands, bandits, are raiding up and down that. So is the Fire Temple, the Earth Temple, and the Air Temple. They're all raiding up and down this road and in the Gnarly Forest. The Water Temple is raiding up and down the rivers with the pirates, like Captain Tolub. They're raiding up and down the Velvediver River and Emerge Run for the Water Temple. So the other 3 temples are all in here. Anyway, Sheer Knob, caused by Uiz's forces and conjunction. You got to remember, Supreme Commander Hadrak, that's responsible for the resurgence, the second uprising, the Temple of Elemental Evil. He's the one that got it off the ground several years ago, back in 576 Common Year, and recruited and got them all back together and organized them, and heavily recruiting, bringing in lots of supplies, a lot of agents out in the field with lots of contacts, lots of pirates and brigands and and lords and nobles. He's got a lot of connections. He's a high priest of Uiz. Uiz has other agents out there too. The 3 wolves, I think he calls them. Obni the Hammer. You remember the mean high-level dwarf in the G3 module? That guy. And also there's this vampire girl, the Cowled Lady, and then there's a 3rd. So anyway, the Cowled Lady is responsible for getting these hill giants from the Lortmill Mountains to raid Sheer Knob. And she makes an appearance. So if I show you the Dungeon Master layer on this map, it's a secret, so don't look. So on the top right-hand corner is a filter. Go to the Dungeon Master locations. And right here is the clan, the White Rock clan. They're hill giants. And it's an abandoned mine in the forest there. And they're raiding from there. The gnome, so Living Greyhawk wrote 3 adventure modules for this. And so what the gnomes are desperate for adventurers. They find them in Hamlet, bring them down, beg them, pay them, get the adventurers to go track down this raid, where they came from, investigate this fort, find out what's there. They witness the Cowled Lady show up. They're all only like 2nd level or 3rd level, so there's not much they can do. They're just to go there and report and come back. That's the first module. Second module, something else happens. And 3rd module is a big fight. And usually the players are higher level by then because it happens later in the timeline. Anyway, that's what this guy wants to do. So I'm the DM you talk about. There you go. That's awesome. There's a few DMs that want to do this. And I run this in my campaign too. So it gives a reason for the players to go south, away from Nulb. You don't want the players going to Nulb before 5th level. You want to keep them busy. Because you do not want the players going to Nulb right after Hamlet. After the Moat House, that's suicidal, especially the way I got it keyed. 35 locations with some very serious heavy hitters, brigands, bandits, pirates, and other cultist agents. It's going to be a slaughter, especially if you've got paladins and lawful good clerics in your group. It's not going to happen. So you want them to be at least 5th level before going there and smarter as players. So that's why I hit them with that quest. So I hit them with Noble Ambitions first, get them to 2nd level after that dungeon, which is right here. Sorry. Which is right here. That's the dungeon. It gets through Penwick. You start in City of Verbobonc, down Merchant's Way to Penwick, to Osprey Manor, which is right there. Antchan, which is a small thorp on the edge of the swamp. across the swamp, into the forest. Orcs have taken over the top level. Below level, they awoken the undead down there, and they're gathering to retake the temple. That's their objective. And they're pretty powerful. So anyway, after that, the players, you need to entice the players, give them a reason, a logical reason to want to go south. And so you got the bandit problem. And sure enough, some of the players of your group probably were mandated a mission from their bishop, from their leader of their mage guild, the ranger of their training, like the Gnarly Forest Rangers, their night ranger mandated them to get to the bottom of this. Whoever their leaders are that trained them probably gave them these missions to get to the bottom of this stuff. And there's another quest I give them. So it's the most, besides the noble ambitions, and there's a quest line for that afterwards too. It keeps going. Like that dwarf that they rescued, he's part of a whole entire another dwarf quest line that takes you into the Lord Mill Mountains looking for the lost city of the dwarves, taken over by the mind flayers. Big, huge quest, like 6 or 7 modules from Living Greyhawk. So it's an option. If you have a dwarf in your group, they might be interested in that. But anyway, there's a lot of modules in Living Greyhawk. So you have to give them a reason to go south. So one of the biggest, besides Noble Ambitions, the biggest instrumental quest module from Living Greyhawk is the Gift of Beauty. It's huge. It's one of the most important things that's happening politically in this entire campaign. So I talked about this many times before, and I need to make that module. And I did interview with the author. No, I didn't interview the author. I interviewed the author that did the Giant series. He was on my channel, and he gave me permission to use those and add them to the website. But I can't get hold of the author for Noble and for Gift of Beauty. But Gift of Beauty is part of the Living Greyhawk journal, so I can use information from that. I can rewrite it using the base core information from the journal. I just won't use those same encounters that his module did, which I didn't like anyway. The reason is because all these modules were written for after the Greyhawk Wars. They were told specifically not to mention or use anything from the Temple of Elemental Evil, or don't go anywhere near Nob. They were all told this by Wizards of the Coast. So that's why it's missing from all these modules. These modules were written for that timeline. They were not written for this campaign. So I have to rewrite them to fit this campaign politically and logistically and organizationally. You know, what Uwis is up to, what the Temple of Elemental Evil is up to at this time, the events that are happening now. All these modules have to be rewritten for that. There's a lot going on, so they all have to be entwined. I did that very well with Noble Ambitions. That's done. So I need to do the same thing with Gift of Beauty. So the gift is a chest of Rao. So what happened is the Archbishop of Valuna got together with all the faiths, including the Grand Druid in the Gnarly Forest and artisans and stuff. They all put gifts, these divine gifts, into this chest. And the chest itself is a divine gift. It's divine, imbued with divine power, energy. It's a gift to be sent to Lady Queen Yolanda of Selene to the south. So Queen Yolanda closed the borders. No more trade, no more contact with any other human realms in the area. She closed herself off and doesn't want anything to do with anybody. Uwis loves this. You gotta remember the potential of the Greyhawk Wars is coming up, and Uwis does not want Selene to help. He doesn't want them involved. He wants this to be closed. So of course, what's he gonna do? He's gonna raid and intercept that Gifted Beauty before getting to Selene. Right here, this is where it was raided, south of Ostberg, right here at the border of Selene. Yeah, I had the Earth Temple raided. Romag, he sent a force down there with some gnolls, and they captured it. And they took it to Earth base, outpost. That's where it's at. And a couple different Dungeon Masters are running this right now, and their players have actually found it. And so the objective of that module is to return it to Luna or the Lords or something. or have it delivered to Selene, because it's a diplomatic mission to Alderaan. No, and these priests of Rao, these clerics, went with it, this delegation, and one of the priests of the delegation was captured, and that's where he showed up for Noble Ambitions, by the way. So it's all integrated, combined, it's all connected, and it's a huge blow to the forces of good that this happened, that the Gift of Beauty was taken. And it's a huge win if the players can recover it and deliver it to Selene, to Queen Yolanda. And that might open up political connections again to Selene, the Fairy Kingdom, which would be a huge win for the forces of good in the upcoming Greyhawk Wars. All right. Okay, so OGN Jen, yeah, he said, yes, the plan is to keep them from Hamlet and Nolb for some time, just to give them hints about the temple and Nolb on the way. But they are too busy with the hill giants and other stuff. That's exactly how that was intended. And he also said, the Gift of Beauty is also on my list after those 3 modules with the gnomes. Okay, so now that you guys know about the 3 modules for the gnomes and Shir Nob, and you also know about the Gift of Beauty and Noble Ambitions. So this is how I tie it all in together. So they finished Noble Ambitions. You don't have to, but I do it in my campaign. After they're done with that, I gave them the Gift of Beauty mission already while they were in the city of Verbobonc. Ranger Knight Owen came to one of the rangers in the party and gave him the mission to recover it, to investigate. And so did the Druid. The Grand Druid with the Druid character. So a couple of the characters in a group had the Gift of Beauty mission already. Or they could give it to them in Penwick after they do Noble Ambitions. That gives them a reason to go south. Big quest, right? Also, the quest for the giants too. I don't give them the quest for the giants and Shir Nob until the players get to Hamlet first. Then I have the gnomes show up and desperately plead for them to follow him to Shir Nob to help them. And they say, well, we're going south anyway to look for the Gift of Beauty. Yeah, sure, we'll help you. So they accompany him to Shir Nob. And those 3 modules are not meant to be played back to back, one after another. Time is supposed to pass between those 3 modules for Shir Nob. So the first module is their first visit to Shir Nob. Then they go south to do the Quest of Beauty. Then when they come back again, when there's a break in the action, in the quest, in the story, they ask for help again for the second module and third module. That's how I do it. So my players, one of my groups, stopped at Hamlet and went to the Moe House first. Then they went south. Yeah, they were 2nd level at the time. Of course, they got their butts handed to them by Lareth. He just dropped a darkness on them, the 30-foot darkness spell. Yeah, they ran. It was over. They did not want to fight that battle. All right, so you also said Gift of Beauty is also on my list. Okay. And then you said, OG Jen, yeah, you're right. The whole gnome problem and tensions between them and Verbobonc nobles is actually the fault of the current Viscount. And the modules are written for 591 Common Year. And the new Viscount is trying to fix it. So I had to change a few things there to fit this timeline in this campaign. Because I could have omitted that happening, and that could be a possible future event that happens. But I love the Gift of Beauty and quest and these Shir Nob quests so much. They're awesome. They really fit this campaign so well. They really engage the players into this campaign world. So I had to change some things. Now, my beliefs with the Living Greyhawk is they're not really canon. They're semi-canonical. To me, they're just possible future events that could happen. Because I don't believe in the Greyhawk Wars. So the Greyhawk War could be a possible future event. You got to remember, we're running this campaign in the original Temple of Elemental Evil campaign timeline. None of this stuff happened yet. And that's why, and that's what this, the objective, the aim of this campaign project is focused on that. And I'm borrowing these wonderful, these modules, this information, these locations, these organizations from Living Greyhawk to integrate it into this timeline. And you have some also other authors writing stuff like the elf clans and Selene. He's writing stuff for his campaign, which is later, Living Greyhawk years, because he's written for Living Greyhawk. But he's also backtracking for me for my version that I'm putting in World Anvil for my timeline. And sometimes I'll add something, add like, yeah, in 593 this happens. I'll add that to the article. Okay. So where are we at? There's so much to talk about. We talked about the city. The article. So where's the article at? I was in the middle of talking about the article, and then we switched gears. Here it is. So we're talking about beginner modules. This is the article I wrote today because a couple of Dungeon Masters asked, it's too much, so they're overwhelmed. They don't know where to start. So that's why I wrote this article for them. So yeah, I suggest you could start at the Village of Hamlet. But you could also do something else too here, like Bandage on the Road. Okay, 5. If you feel overwhelmed, just give up. No. Okay, this is totally normal. So this is the safety rail version. Pick level 1 through 3. Choose Hamlet. Decide who sends them. Did a Verbobonc noble send them, like Lady Eleanor? Did a church send them, like St. Cuthbert? Did the Adventurers Guild in the City of Verbobonc send them? Because if you go to this Adventurers Guild in the City of Verbobonc, there's notices and posts all over the wall, the pole there. And there's a picture of that in that article for that location. And they're hiring adventurers all the time in the Adventurers Guild. And that's where Lady Eleanor posted her message at for the Noble Ambitions quest. And you can print that up too. It's a handout, the notice. Run only the first little slice, like a few Hamlet encounters, like a few side Hamlet encounters, those side quests, like the goblins. Or maybe one small dungeon. Like those goblins I raided, they came from a small little goblin complex. And that's what Randy put up on his screenshot that you saw on his VTT map. There's a lot of goblin maps that you can find on the internet. Just, the typical goblin tribe cave complex. I created one too. It's on my Patreon if you guys want to use it. Between sessions, look up 1 or 2 extra Verbobonc articles at a time to deepen your world, to expand, and expand. Just add a little bit at a time. You don't have to use everything I've written. So you don't have to add everything. It's not a buffet. It's a buffet, not homework. So I gave an example of 35 locations in Nob. I don't intend the Dungeon Master or City of Verbobonc. I don't intend the Dungeon Master to use all those locations. I wrote them there in case you need them. Maybe you don't like those locations. Maybe you like certain locations that you really want to use. You go through them and go, I like this location. I'll use this location. Sometimes players will do something you didn't expect, and you'll be glad that those locations were developed and ready to go. What if they walked into that farmhouse, knock on the door, or they saw the wood chopper out there and they want to go talk to him? Hey, it's done. Dialogue and everything, flavor text. Okay, so the next section is, let's see. So in your campaign, OG Gen, the final goal of your campaign will be to stop the Greyhawk Wars. After the Temple of Elemental Evil, they know that Ew is involved, and they will want to investigate that. And I can send them north. Ooh. Yeah, or go elsewhere. Then you said, Sarge said, I plan timeline no more. My party is chaotic, and I never know what to expect. So, all my villages are like the Village of Hamlet. They're all keyed, fully keyed with everything. So let's look at the map. So let's say you're a bunch of crazy loons of your players decide, let's go to Osbury Manor. Let's go to the ranch down here. It's keyed already, thank God. Right? Let's say they want to go to Twilight Falls. That's fully done with map and everything. So, yeah. And plot hooks. It really brings the place to life. So the campaign can keep going. You're not at a dead end. If your players end up going, this is the other map, the places I haven't done yet, let's see. Let's say they want to go to Ruby Falls. Well, that is written out in Living Greyhawk Guide, but not a lot of detail. It's not like what I've done. I really expanded. If you see my villages, so you'll be stuck there to do a lot of work to get that flushed out for the players, or you can just wing it. Be kind of a generic village, forest village. That place is woodsman. Human and woodsman live there. It's like a woodsman village. They live in the woods. They timber and hunting and woodcraft, things like that. But anyway, it's good to have these done. So when they go there, you don't have to worry about it. It's at your fingertips. I format everything with bullet points really well. So that way it's highly referenceable at the table. So you can look up something really quick. Okay. Okay, good. I'm caught up there. So we were on this. Where did it go? Or where to start? Okay, so the next section is for more experienced DMs. So no noobs here. This is assuming you've run the Temple of Elemental Evil already in the 80s or 90s. You've already run it 100 times back in the day. And you want to make it big. You want to make a sandbox epic version of it. So what I suggest is this stuff right here. So if you run it before, blah, 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 blah. Number 1, use Noble Ambitions as your Act 1. So run the Noble Ambitions. See? There's a link to it, so you can go right to the module. Run that. You start at bit my tongue. You start at Verbobonc City and go to Jolly's Inn to meet Lady Eleanor. A discreet summons. Everybody in the city wants to know what this is about. She's the most illegible bachelorette in the kingdom. Young, beautiful, well-educated, very refined. She's the celestial ambassador to the celestial circles. She's amazing. Can you imagine your character hooking up with her and becoming a lord at the end of the campaign? That'd be awesome. Lord Osbury. But anyway, everybody's really interested in her. And secretly, she put out a summons, that note, and she didn't tell anybody what it's for. All the bishops, all the churches, all the maids guilds, all the lords, all the nobles, all the merchants, all the agents of the Temple of Elemental Evil, they all want to know what's going on. In fact, they send assassins in this module to find out. They don't kill anybody, but they threaten and they tell lies. It's great. You'll love that part. It's a lot of fun to roleplay that part. So anyway, okay, the players are sent by these people. Think about it. Let's say you're a cleric of St. Cuthbert or a paladin of Heronius. You're a bishop. You're a victor, whatever they called. He's going to say, I got a notice that Lady Eleanor is holding a meeting at Jolly's Inn. I want you to find out. You represent the church. Behave yourself. I want you to report every word she says. Tell me everything. That's what's going to happen. The lords, too. They're all going to try to send people. They're going to try to find out what she's up to. You got to remember, Lord Melinius is trying to take her lands. He's to the north. She's to the south of Penwick. Huge political stuff. He's trying to marry her. She doesn't want to get married. Big. It's like, not only is it Game of Thrones meets Temple of Elemental Evil, but it's also that Jane Austen stuff. That's how she talks. I studied a lot of Jane Austen movies and novels to get her lingo right, her words. I wrote an article for stuff you can say when you role play her, the way she talks. Anyway, yeah, that's going on. So you go there. That's 1. Number 2, you let the city itself be a living overmap. The High Quarter, the Civic Center, the Business Quarter. I start my players at the Adventurers Guild. I start my players at the churches they're from, the Mages Guild. That's where I start the campaign. Some of these players have not met each other yet. They meet each other for the first time at Jolly's Inn during the interview. And they have to interview. They actually stand before her with her knight scowling at them with his hand on his sword. He's going to lop their heads off. For the interview, she asks them really important questions. The dialogue is well written and narration. And so the players are really nervous. And some of these players don't meet each other until the first time until they get here. And then she'll actually choose the ones that are going to go on this mission. And then she's going to tell them what the mission's about. at that point after they've been chosen. And anybody that was dismissed, I have a bunch of NPCs lined up for the interview, and the players can witness this interview. Like there's a dwarf, there's a female thief, there's an elf mage, and they fail miserably. It's really funny. And so they're dismissed. So they didn't get hired, but the players will get hired. And then she'll tell them the whole story about the late raving madman that they found outside their gates. And she suspects that's the location of her lost treasures to House Osbury during the Elemental War. After the Battle of Emerald Meadows, when the forces of the Temple of Elemental Evil swept through the Osbury Meadows and Osbury Manor and looted the place and took all their treasures, including the Sword of Osbury, the Gleaming Sword, and the Gleaming Gem of Osbury. 2 magic items, and they're linked together to form one magic item. Kind of like a Japanese anime. But anyway, there's a flaming sword and a healing gem. So you can heal and fight at the same time. Really powerful. She wants those back. And she tells the players they can have the rest. There's also a wedding chalice, a wedding cup, a couple wedding cups. They have one that proves that he's saying is right. The matching cup should be there in the treasure. Things like that. She wants that back. And the players can have the rest. And they get this prophecy, mad, raving clue of how to get there. So they have to figure out how to find this dungeon. And it's really good riddle. And I got that laid out really well too. So there's no confusion. All right, where are we at? Yeah. So did I put that up? Oops. Sarge said that. Okay, so OG Jen. I read every single article there is. Really? It's over 1,500 articles. Okay, then, hey, Don Sanders, thank you for joining. I appreciate it. He said, you're lost. What pages are you currently looking at? Oh, you must have just joined because this I wrote today. So we had a new Dungeon Masters pop up and ask. They're lost too because they're new to all this. And it's overwhelming, all this material, which is really just a big, elaborate Dungeon Master notes. It's like the village of Hamlet, but there's 15 of them. All these different villages, including the city of Verbobonc, which is massive. The village of Nob, all these organizations like the Gnarly Rangers and the Druids, different countries, different NPCs and temple agents and lords. There's a lot going on, a lot of NPCs, a lot of locations. And where do you start? So, like I said earlier tonight, this is an Epic Sandbox version. So basically, as a Dungeon Master, you can choose where to start the players at. Some Dungeon Masters start their characters on the Wild Coast. Others, divers. Some at Hamlet, like the module, which is the traditional boring way, I guess, depending if you run it before or your players have done it. Shirnob, Selene, Valuna, Firandi. I start my characters at the City of Verbobonc. Run the Noble Ambitions module quest line. That gets them the 2nd level. And then I run the Gift of Beauty adventure. I hit them with that and also the Giant series in Shirnob. So it gives them reasons to go south and keep them away from Nob. You don't want them getting to Nob until at least 5th level. Because there's a lot going on out there. It's not just the Moat House. That's the Greater Temple. Larth is with the Greater Temple. The lesser temples, Fire, Earth, Water, and Air, they have other raiding temple outposts out there as well. The Earth Temple has, I'll show you the map. The Earth Temple has a monastery. Yeah, that doesn't go south far enough. This is the Eastern Viscounty. Every hex is 1 mile, but we need to go more south. This is the Viscounty map. Every hex is 3 miles. Okay, so there's Hamlet. So you're going south, and to get them to go south, organically engaged, not force them. I give each of the players at the start of the campaign subquests, like their bishop gave them, or Mage Guild leader. So anyway, I hit them with the Gift of Beauty, which is taken here south of Ostwerk, so they have to recover the Gift of Beauty. And also a gnome from Shirnob will show up. Please help us. We're being attacked by hill giants. And so the players will go down there to help them out. Also, up and down this long road, this merchant road is being raided by all these bandits and brigands and the Earth Temple, the Air Temple, the Fire Temple. This is the Fire Temple on top of the Edders, which is like 5 miles north of Hamlet. I keep telling you guys this. You can see that watchtower from far away, and it's on fire. Quite obvious. From downtown Hamlet in front of the Welcome Wench, you just look up 5 miles away on top of that hill. There's a watchtower. It's ruins, and then there's a big flame, big fire pit. Anyway, that's what the Fire Temple is. But they're pretending to be druids. They put out a statement to invitation. They sent out an invitation to all druids in the area to come witness this grand event. We're bringing balance back to nature. That's what we're doing. All druids are welcome. Good way to take out all the druids in the area in one night, isn't it? Okay, over here is the Air Temple, Feathergale Spire, which is where their giant vultures are. They like to raid up and down. I hit my players with them once. It scared the hell out of them. This right here is the old abandoned monastery. Well, it wasn't. No, there's remnants of the faith there, just a few, and then the Earth Temple just muscled their way in and took over the place. But they keep them as a front. Anyway, that's where I put the Gift of Beauty at. So they raided the Gift of Beauty on the border of Selene. They took it here. A couple of Dungeon Masters actually, they got past that part. They recovered it. Pretty cool. Okay, so anyway, that's what I'm talking about. So let's go back to the article again. Where to start? So I created this article, where to start, because I had a bunch of Dungeon Masters asking me where to start. I'm confused. It's 1,500 articles, too much stuff going on. Where should I start? So the first part is for the brand new Dungeon Master. Doesn't matter what rule set you're using. I clarified all that. What to do, how to use the site as a beginner. I covered all that. What about, I linked this to the front page too, by the way. I'll show you the front page. Wow. Oh, I'm on that page. Okay. I go back one. Yeah, it's on the main page. So on the main page of the campaign website, I actually linked it here. I also told you guys about this tonight too, where you can get the free downloads. There's a link right here. Okay, let's go back where we were. Okay, so then I talked about if you're overwhelmed, I say just pick a level. Pick one of these up here. Choose Hamlet. That's easy. Decide who sends them there. Like a Verbobonc Noble, the church, the Adventurers Guild, and the City of Verbobonc. Anybody. Run only the first slice, a few Hamlet side encounters, side missions from the side mission module that I uploaded for you guys to download. Between sessions, add some extras. Just keep looking at the website, looking for interesting things, and then add it to your campaign to deepen your world. Okay, for experienced Dungeon Masters, that's where I was just talking about just now. All right, so back to what you guys were saying. All right, so Don Sanders says, it might be helpful if there's more links to the content discussed in the comments of the video. So I was talking about that earlier. You must have joined late, but I said earlier that from the main page of the campaign website, there's a link to this new article I just wrote today. It's in the introduction section. In the table of contents on the left-hand side, there's a table of contents. And the very first thing in the table of contents is introduction. And those are the articles I intend for everybody to read first before reading anything else. I also talked about the problem that you can't see it because of the background is kind of interfering. And I messaged World Anvil to complain about that. If for some reason you can't see it, it happened today. See this table of contents right here? Yeah, it's kind of messed up. It didn't look like that before. I don't know what happened. Anyway, introduction's right there. So if you click on introduction, those are all the articles in introduction. I just wrote this today. Where to start? Bam. I also intend everybody to read this one too. This is like more details of what it says on the front cover. All this right here. The very first page. Okay, so let's go back to where we were. There we go. All right, so more. So Don said, as I'm watching the live video, I'm trying to browse the articles you're currently discussing. It can be challenging to keep up. That is true. There's too much. Okay, OG Jen, my players were really hooked on Albert Goldenstern, his lies, what he told them when they left the tavern. It was in their heads the whole time. You know, that's my writing. I added all that. So let's look at Noble Ambitions real quick. So we're talking about the quest line. The one when I run my campaign at first level, I start my players in the City of Verbobonc, and I run this adventure right here. This is very advanced role playing. There's a lot of role playing going on. Now, not all players appreciate and enjoy a lot of role playing. They just want to go into a dungeon and kill stuff. But that's not really what this campaign's about. It's an epic sandbox campaign where there's the Game of Thrones meets Temple of Elemental Evil. It's not just a dungeon crawl. And some players aren't into that. I have a player I grew up with. He's not into that either. He just wants to be in the dungeon and fireball everything until they're dead and loot and carry around 12 magic missile wands. You know, it's just the kind of player he is. Yeah, I guess he has a lot of anger issues. So this is the cover page of that adventure series. And it tells you everything you need to know about the adventure series, right? But on the right-hand side is a table of contents of all the scenes. Scene 1, Scene 2, Scene 3. I did some videos about this before. But these 5 right here are side quests. These are the side quests I give those players at the beginning of the campaign. This is what I run them through before they meet at Jolly's Inn. I give them those. I pick some players out who would be more suitable. And I run those. But what he's talking about is number 4. No, I'm sorry. You're talking about this one, right? Number 2. Let's take a look at number 2. Let's see. See, it's a lot of narration, a lot of flavor text, a lot of dialogue. I really bring Jolly's Inn to life here in Scene 2, where they meet her for the first time. So what are you talking about? Let's see. Where is it? Right here? Yeah, these are the NPCs I told you about that interview for the job and they get turned down. It's pretty funny. This is what they say. Healthy the nimble from Verbobonc. I quit with a dirk and uncatchable. How much you paying me? So where is that? It should be right here. Lord Connor. Introductions. I don't know where I put that. Is it under their character article? It might be under the character article. So you're talking about who again? Albert Einstein. Oops. Dang it. Okay, here it is. Sorry. Albert Guildenstern. Is that the assassin? Oh, you're talking about the assassin, right? So I'm in the wrong one. Okay, let's go back. Yeah, you're using his real name. A voice from the shadows. That's what you must be talking about. Let's take a look. So this is Scene 4. That's him. Yep, there's his name right there. That's his real name. He doesn't use his name in front of the player characters. He's got a fake name. Yeah, this is like one of my most favorite role-playing scenes in the entire adventure series. It's really interesting. My players were freaked out by it. They didn't know what to think. It was funny. I kept kidding with them too about it afterwards later on. But that's not what he said. Don't you remember? Version. That's what he calls himself. Version. So anyway, he's an assassin, thief. And yeah, he's trying to find out information and he's telling the players full of lies to get them confused. So I even gave you DM notes about him too and clarification. So this is really well written out. Yeah, I love this part. It's great. And the picture is perfect. Sometimes I get the artwork right, don't I? Not always, but what do you expect for free, right? Let's see. My players have really hooked on Albert. Yeah, that was a good bit. Got into my group's head a bit. Sarge said, version from the shadows should be after interview. Yep, Number 4. He used the alias version. Okay, thank you. Okay, yeah. So anyway, we're talking about Noble Ambitions questline. I have a cold, swollen lymph nodes. I have the crud, the winter crud. Taking Mucinex. Okay, we're back at this article here. Now we're caught up in chat. Okay, so where to start? So at the bottom of this article, for experienced Dungeon Masters, run Noble Ambitions. I suggest that. You don't have to. You can start your campaign on the Wild Coast with the Slaver series, and make your way to Hamlet. It's up to you, but this is how I do it. But it's supposed to be a sandbox campaign. You can do it any way you want. That's why I key all these villages in for you. So it doesn't matter where they go. These villages are keyed with plot hooks too, and dialogue and narration and description to help you choose whether or not you want to use it or not, or some of it, or a little bit, or none of it. It's up to you. I just give you the bricks, the foundation of the house, to build your world from. The World of Greyhawk box set is the foundation of the house, right? And you're supposed to make it your own Greyhawk. Well, I just added more. I'm very good with Canonical. I try to stick with Canonical. My intentions is expanding, not change. And when I do expand something, make more, expand it to more, like add more article, add more characters, add organizations, add locations, characters, personalities. I add it in vein with the canonical lore. So it agrees with it. It's part of the lore. I don't create something because I thought it was cool. And that's what the Three Oaks Discord's for. Every time I write an article, I put it up for you guys to critique. And you can talk about it. And I can edit it right away. Say, yeah, that doesn't make sense. What do you write that for? Okay, I'll change it. What do you guys think? Okay, so where are we at? Yeah, he uses an alias version. All right, so yeah, Noble Ambitions. So Act 1, City of Verbobonc. I use the City of Verbobonc as a living overmap. I use it as a living city to really bring the campaign to life. That's why I keyed it so much and put a lot of narration, flavor text into it. Even the districts have narration and flavor text. So that way you can read it out loud as you go through that district. That way you can understand it more as what it looks like, how it feels there, the kind of people that are there. They really bring that place to life. And you really need to move the characters when it comes to role playing through the city fairly quickly so they don't get bored. So it's best to have all that written out in advance so you can just kind of whiz through it and make it seem natural rather than going, yeah, it's kind of like Old England, and it's got cobblestones, and there's a merchant, and then there's a dirty little boy asking for alms on the corner. Yeah, that's not fun. Okay, so anyway, there's a lot going on here. There's a Thieves Guild. So these locations can be engaged with the player specifically. If you have a thief in your group, does he want to be from the Thieves Guild or no? Well, if he does, the Thieves Guild is ready to go. And a location too, B32. The Adventurers Guild, all the bishops, all the churches, the lords, their mansions. Get invited to a mansion's party. I'll get to that. That's something I did work on this week too. I didn't talk about that, did I? Lacus is the agent of the Temple of Elemental Evil. His sister is working in Nulb. And he's posing as a merchant, or he's posing as a rich merchant from Divers. And he's holding big parties in his mansion in the High Quarter. The players can get invited to that and actually witness the conversations with the lords, the nobles. That's big. The Thieves Guild can get invitations for the thief in the party. That's kind of cool too. Case the joint. Find out some information. What's going on here? Who is this Lacus character anyway? He's the one that hires those brigands in Noble Ambitions. In Noble Ambitions, like scene 6 or so, the party gets attacked by brigands on the road. Their orders are really weird. Burn the wagon of Lady Eleanor. Don't touch her. Really strange orders for brigands, right? Yeah, he hired them. And I know what tavern he hired him from too. And it's quite likely one of the players in the group was staying at that tavern. He could have even recognized one of them. Maybe he even got recruited by one of them. Anything could be like that could happen in your campaign. It's all written out. It's all there for you to use. So you could plan. You just need to plan it in advance, and those articles are there for you. Okay, 3. Slot the classic Temple of Elemental Evil contact where the trail leads. So noble ambitions already point you towards Osbury Manor and Penwick, and then Anshan, and then the Fens of Tor. And then you finally get to the dungeon, the Ancient Soul Temple. I'll show you on the map again. Right there. Bam. I'll get closer for you. Is that too close? Good enough. You can see that, right? Start at City of Verbobonc, go down to Penwick, go down to Osbury Manor, right there somewhere. Hey, where's my icon? Oh, maybe I should make another icon there for Osbury Manor. I'll probably have to click on that. The Small Thorpe, before you get into the Fens of Tor. That's a Lizardman village, by the way. It's a possible wandering encounter. See, that links to that location. You get attacked by the Lizardmen, find out where they're from, and if they trade with the humans, that opens up the campaign even more. And you find out the pirates in the Water Temple's been trading with them for those some shrooms they've been using on their prisoners, putting them to sleep to make them look like they're dead. So look what's going on here. There's a lot happening. There's a chance that as they cross this river, Emerge Run, one of the pirate ships floats by. What are the players going to do? Luckily, you have articles for that, for those pirate ships and the crew and the ship and the details, how long it is, how wide it is, how fast it goes, all that stuff. Okay, there's an orc tribe in the area, and they've taken over the top level of the dungeon. So the players have to navigate the top level to retrieve the treasure for Lady Osbury and get them back to Osbury Manor. Lord Belinius shows up and tries to take it from them. That's an awesome scene, too. I think that scene is just as exciting and really cool as that one with the assassin. Both those scenes are extremely iconic, very memorable. Your players will remember it for the rest of their lives. It's really exciting. So that's happening. After you get back to Osbury Manor, give her the jewels. The players don't have to do that. What if they decide not to give her the sword and the gem and they decide to keep it? Well, she just made an enemy of Lady Eleanor. But she probably becomes friend. They probably could become friends with Lord Belinius, maybe. So you could choose to side with Lord Belinius. When Lord Belinius stops you on the way back with those treasure and you give it to him, he's gonna put you can be brought into his confidence, and he's gonna like you and bring you into the favor of Lord Belinius, House Belinius, and she's gonna hate you. So you'll have disfavor with House Osbury. But if you do return the treasure to House Osbury, you're going to have negative relationships with House Belinius. He's going to hate you if you don't give him the equipment, if you don't give him the treasure. So anyway, that's why I give those other 2 quests. You got Gift of Beauty, and you got the quest down and Sheer Knob down here, which I haven't written yet. They're Living Greyhawk modules. And Gift of Beauty is not written yet as a Living Greyhawk module. You can remember those modules are written for Living Greyhawk 594 Common Year, so they're not written for this campaign setting. That's why I got to rewrite them. But I give them all those quests to get them down to Ostfirk. And if you guys seen my module for Ostfirk, that's really brought to life. There's a lot going on down there. Lots of side quests, lots of characters, lots of things happening. You're on the border of Ostfirk. The Gift of Beauty's down there. There's a lot of things happening. I haven't done Humming's End yet, so I need help with that. Humming's End is a druid that lives there, and it's a woodsman town of humans, just to let you know. Okay, back to the article. Okay, so where the trail leads, the moat house, Nob, main temple, blah, blah, blah. Essentially use noble ambitions as Act 1 and 2 for the long arc, and the classic temple is Act 3. That's a short one. I suggest doing the Gift of Beauty and the Giants before going to Nob. This tells you to go straight to Nob after the Moat House. Because the characters will be... The problem is the characters will only be 3rd level then. Not a good idea. 4, give thieves and intrigue PCs real teeth. So, the Thieves Guild, B32. Lacus Qualid, get invited to his... He's the Temple Alliance power broker, using parties, trade deals, assassins to weaken Verbobonc from the inside. Get to the bottom of him. Chase him out of town. That's a long-term goal. A thief PC can get invited to Lacus's party as staff, as security, as pretend to be a noble retainer. You can pretend all that stuff. What if the other player was a paladin or a knight? That'd be cool. Spy on the ballroom with 13 mirrors inside his mansion. Into the green saloon and listen to his conversation with other nobles. Bring back intel to the Thieves Guild, their Patreon temple that they're from, like St. Cuthbert, if they're clerics. Turn the temple war into a 3-way game between cult, the city, and the underworld. That's where Noble Ambitions really shines for veterans. You already know the dungeon, and you get to play the political campaign around it. So anyway, that's what I wrote today. I could put more artwork on the right, but I decided not to. Any questions? Let's see. Okay, so OG Jen says, I think the whole Greyhawk setting is just a foundation, like you said, and every Dungeon Master builds his own version of it based on the foundation. And that's the intention of this website, this project. I created the foundation for you guys, and you can take it or leave it. It's so much. I overdid it. So much, you won't have anything to run out of doing. It'll take you years to get through all this stuff. So it's up to you what you want to use, what you think is cool and what's not cool. So what else? That's all I did this week, besides have a cold and went to a couple of appointments. Next week, I'll continue Section C of the City of Verbobonc. Let's see, City of Verbobonc. Where is it? Where's my city? I don't get it. There it is. Okay, this is the main City of Verbobonc website page. It's in the Atlas section in the table of contents. The table of contents, the Atlas section. Atlas. And we're talking about, I did A. A's done. B's done. The B quarter, the business quarter's done. It's been rewritten. I said that earlier. And updated. All the artwork's been updated too. It looks a lot better. The Civic Center. I did the main article for the Civic Center's done. And I did the first location. The Church of Tritherin's done. So I got 16 locations this week to get through. To get the C section of the city done, the Civic Center, and then I'll continue on. You know what I don't like about the D section is there are only 7 locations. To me, there should be more to that. You know, let's look at the big one. Here we go. Here's the big picture. Oops. There. So the green area is the Elven Enclave. And by the way, the map is got a filter on the top right-hand corner. Let's see, watch this. Where's the Elven Quarter? Right there. Doop. See that? Because it gets too busy with all those icons everywhere. You can filter them out. Just filter out the section you're in. Down here are borders. See, border. Street names too. You can get rid of or take away the street names too. And the Elven Dawn is this faint blue line. That's the border of that district. So you know what district you're in. But anyway, yeah, there should be more locations in that one. I think that one got shorted. I actually added a location. I think I added number 7. What is it? No. I thought I added somebody. Oh, I added them to this one. Yeah, I added them to D2. It's a lord. He's connected to the Elven clans in the Nully Forest. I thought I gave him a mansion. Maybe I never got around to that. So I should add more locations to this section, I think. So if you have an elf in your party, he's got a couple choices. He can be from here, or he could be from the Nully Forest. It's up to you where you want him to be from. You know what's great about knowing where somebody's from? Training, information, help, agency. You get somebody that has your back, someplace that you're really from, a real place that you're from, not some vague place. You know, he can talk about this place in role playing. He can go there, get some answers, report back, get missions. He's got a mission. Something happened. So yeah, it's really cool that players are from a real place in this campaign that I have keyed. You know, I think that's neat. Or a real organization like the Gnarly Rangers or something, or the Mounted Borderers or whatever. A church, a Mages Guild. The Silver Consortium's right there. That's the Mages Guild. Let's turn that on. See? Let's see. That's the Silver Consortium, the big mage guild. So a player can be from there if he's a mage. Doesn't matter what race he is. But you could be a gnome mage, for example, and be from the gnome quarter. And this happens to be a gnome wizard living in one of these hovels, these rents. They call them rents. So the thing about mages is you don't necessarily have to be from a mage guild, like a heads knight. There's knights that serve a lord, and there's heads knights that travel. They're no better than vagabonds, really. They resort to stealing when they're poor and hungry. That's what this book was about. We talk a lot about that. There's a lot of realism in this book from George R.R. Martin about heads knights. Great resource for role-playing a knight in your campaign. I really like it a lot. So yeah, same thing with the wizard, like a hedge wizard. You know, some wizards are, you know, like a small town wizard. He's got an apprentice. So your player could be from there, like from Etterbolk, the wizard there. Or out in the countryside. He's a loner. He doesn't like people. You know, he's in the forest. Yeah, your player could be from anywhere. They don't necessarily have to be from these organized areas either. It's up to you. It's a lot easier though, because it's a keyed place, but you don't have to. It's just going to be more writing for you to explain who his master is and where he's from and how he grew up and raised and stuff like that. Because your player eventually in this epic sandbox, this is a campaign. Yeah, some Dungeon Masters can't wrap their head around it. A campaign is not the B2 module where you just go to the Caves of Chaos and back, you know, and kill stuff and loot. This is a living, breathing Greyhawk campaign. Long term. You're expected to play for a few years or more. Hopefully you get to the Q1, right? You want to be from a real place, a real background, legitimate NPC characters that you're engaged with that's responsible for you, or you're on missions from them. Important things. Maybe you'll get invited to be in the Circle of Eight someday by Mordecanian. So all that stuff builds up. Like the Lady Eleanor. Maybe you're a fighter, knight, cavalier, paladin, whatever. Maybe she'll fall in love with them after becoming a hero and saving the kingdom, saving her lands, returning her treasures, defeating the Temple of Elemental Evil. It's possible. Something to think about. Okay, so anyway, OG Jen, Romness. I think the whole Greyhawk setting is just a foundation, like you said. You build it. Then Don Sanders, great episode. The campaign guide is incredibly well done, even compared to the paid content. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I just want to remind you the paid content is just because people wanted to print it out. You know, even the high-res artwork, high-res maps, it's mostly for people that want to print it up. And also some VTT programs can use it too. I don't know, the limitations of your VTT map app. So I use Owlbear. I can't remember the limitations of Owlbear. It might be 25 megabytes for a VTT map. So I don't know. Anyway, when I make these maps, I give you guys a lot of different versions of them, different file sizes and DPI. So it's up to you which one you need. And if you guys have a need for a certain kind of map, let me know. Like without the titles, without the numbers, or with the labels, black and white, sepia, certain resolutions, let me know. And I can use my app program to export that. You know, some Dungeon Masters don't want any labels at all on their map. Some do. So it's up to you. So you used to talk about the paid content in general from any author. Yeah. Well, there's been a lot of YouTube chat on different channels about the Yums Guild and Drive-Through RPG about the content there. A lot of it is just AI generated, straight AI generated garbage, you know, to spit it out. Nothing written. I write all my stuff up. And my artwork is made with many different programs to put it together. It's not just a spit out like, yeah, make me a picture of a wizard. And then ChatGPT spits that out. I don't do that. I use Photoshop. I use Canva. I use a couple other apps. I can't remember the name. They're on my screen right here. I have one that really does a really cool job about resizing it and making it more detailed. I've been playing around with that lately, but that costs money. A lot of these cost money. I have to pay a monthly fee. And that's where most of these Patreon fees go to, by the way, to pay my monthly fees. World Anvil, they give me 10 terabytes of space. Is it 10? Anyway, I'm almost out of space. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to upgrade my subscription to get more terabyte space. I also pay for a Google Drive, too. So all these apps I have to pay for, including music for my YouTube channel. All that music you hear on my YouTube channel, I pay a subscription to use their service so I can legally use it in my videos. All right. Okay, so if you guys have any more final questions about any of this content, now is the time to ask, because I've been going on for an hour and a half. This is the Journal of the Wanderer, by the way. You can buy you can't buy this. It's not available anywhere. You can get the Living Greyhawk journal from DM's Guild. You can buy it there. And they also have the first 5 issues for sale. So all the base Living Greyhawk information is there. But I had to rewrite it all for this campaign setting. The Journal of the Wanderer is specific for Verbobonc. And this is where I get that information for like the Gift of Beauty. It's in here. Not the module, but the information about that event, which I'm going to reference when I rewrite that module with different encounters and stuff. See, there's a lot of stuff. Like all the nobles here. This is where I got all the base information from. I got very little information here, like a paragraph or two. And then I expanded it greatly, including more NPCs, who serves them, family members, daughters, sons, uncles, other positions, in the court, things like that. You just go through them, you'll see. Organizations. So I'm not a big fan of that name for the Thieves Guild. That's the original Dungeon Master for Living Greyhawk called him that. Isn't that Russian? Batirovaka? This right here. Is that Russian? Yeah, see that? It's not even a whole page. Look at my article. You'll see. So I take this information and I just boom. I use a lot of references from Thieves World. I've read a fantasy book every week my entire life until lately. So I'm a heavy fantasy science fiction book reader. That's where I get my stuff. And I try to write in the same vein as Glenn Cook of the Black Company for Nob specifically to get that vibe. Anyway, that's what that is in case you guys were wondering. I asked the author in my last interview on my channel if he could get this up on DM's Guild. I asked him that. See, that's everything they have on St. Cuthbert. The structure of the priesthood. See, I expanded all this in my article. This is a lot here, actually. But look at the formatting. It's just paragraphs. There's no charts. There's no breakdown. There's no bullet points. It's one paragraph about the church in Hamlet. Can you imagine having to look something up while you're running the game at the table? Trying to role play? My articles are formatted to easy reference. And they're linked together. I click on that link to that bishop or that church or that location. I try to add links to every article so you guys can just hover your cursor over it and I'll pop up a little bit of information there, like that god, like Rao, the god. You go to that location and I make sure the word Rao is clickable so you can hover your cursor over it and I'll pull up what he's the god of, a little description of him. So it's referenceable quickly. Oh yeah, that god. Okay, I got it. And you keep role playing instead of having to open up the box set and look it up in a book. Oh, that's horrible. Players get really bored by that quickly. Go, come on, we want to play. Stop looking stuff up. All right, I guess I'm done. That's pretty much all I want to talk about this week. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Let's see. Okay, so this wraps up my live stream for Three Orcs. So my weekly live stream every Sunday at 7 p.m. MST time, 9 p.m. Eastern time. And every week I talk about what I've done all week for this project. And also I like to have guests on, like Dungeon Masters out there that want to report on their campaign, what's happening in their campaign. I'd love to have you come on so we can talk about it and describe to everybody what's been going on and how you change things. Also, sometimes I'll have a guest like from Living Greyhawk Triad. Some of the authors will come on and they'll talk about what they've written and anything else I could think of. And also during the week, sometimes I'll make another video about a specific subject, which I do need to be doing more often lately, which I haven't been. And also on my Discord, you're more than welcome to join the collaboration and the talk and the critique of all the articles and where it's going, what's happening, ask questions. Get involved. It's greatly appreciated because that's what the Discord's for. And also, my Patreon, you don't have to join it to get any of this content. It's all free because it's fan content. The only thing you get as a member is not only to support this project because you believe in it and you want this to keep going and keep expanding the campaign world, get more villages done, more NPCs, more quests, get those temples done. The 4 earth, air, water, and fire. I need to do those still. That'd be great. So that's why that's what you're supporting. You're also getting high res content. So the regular resolution stuff is free, but if you want the high res versions of it, you have to be a member. Plus, I make VTT tokens too, so you can use in your VTT app when you're running the game, like Noble Ambitions, the dungeon. I made VTT tokens for all those encounters. And that's it. So I want to make sure that you guys get all your questions answered in this live stream every week, and that's why I do it. So I'll thank you for joining me, and I look forward to talking to you guys next week, and I hope your players enjoy your campaign as much as mine have. Good night.